under ice for Motherwell if they get past Hapoel.
Yeah, as you said, we know all about Hapoel. Celtic struggled over there. It was a massive effort to get through that tie. You're right, the COVID thing is a massive worry. I think obviously UEFA will make a decision on that. My immediate worry was the Scotland-Israel game as well, and that obviously comes into that category. But certainly, no, it's going to be a tough one away from home, and I think they know that's the case, that it's a better quality the further you go in this competition.
Yeah, and I have to be honest with you, Tam, I watched Aberdeen. I was impressed with some of their play during the game, never mind the overall result. Some of their nice little linking and passing was really good, and they've got some players that can do that now.
Yeah, they have. Listen, I've been really impressed with Aberdeen over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, it took a lot of criticism the first game of the season against Rangers when they never turned up, but from then on in, they've been really good. The lad Hedges have signed from down south, Welsh boy. He's been exceptional for them. He scored straight from a corner last night. I think he meant it, to be honest. And that's one that Charlie's probably done a few times himself. He's seen the keeper out of position and he's put it right over him into the far top corner. So he's a really talented player. And Ross McCrory, I think, has been a revelation for Aberdeen. I'm still disappointed that Hibs never got him over the line because I think he's a quality player, and at 22 years old, a guy who can go on and have a really good career in the game. So Aberdeen have got a lot of competition for places as well. Guys like Niall McGinn can't get in the team. So I think if you're an Aberdeen fan at the minute, you're doing well in Europe, you're pushing up the league, then everything's looking good under Darren McManus again.
Yeah, the one wee worry I have, and I have to mention it, and I'd like to say hi to everyone on YouTube. Sorry for that slight technical hitch there, but you are with us, and my apologies for that. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button while you're trying to suppress your anger. The one thing I was going to say, Charlie, is the Aberdeen draw, I think, is a harsh one because it's Sporting Lisbon. It might be a last or Dunasca Streda after that, but Sporting Lisbon for me is just, I'm looking and I'm thinking to myself, Sporting Lisbon for Aberdeen, if Rangers get past theirs, suddenly Galatasaray or Hajduk Split could be waiting in the wings. I mean, Celtic have got Riga, but you're suddenly starting to get to that playoff game and you're starting to panic a wee bit. Have we got enough quality for all the Scottish sides?
The Rangers one, I think, is different because they've got that experience of playing against big clubs. They played Porto, they played Leverkusen. They've had big games. This squad's had big games. The Aberdeen one it's a huge game. Sporting Lisbon, if they can get through, it is massive. But you take each game as it comes, and you never know. A little bit of luck on the night, and one-off games, anything can happen. So it was a big result for Aberdeen the other night. They've started the season well since that Rangers game. Obviously, I've seen them up at Aberdeen against Rangers, and I thought they were poor that day, and I was worried for them. But he's brought a couple of good players in. They're starting to find their feet, and if they can transfer that form into the season, they'll definitely be looking at that top three again and pushing on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks to John Flanagan, Ronnie Atkin, Dave Ballock, Stevie Tops, all the people joining us on our Facebook. And I will mention more than a few who'll be joining us on YouTube now that we are alive and kicking again. Great to have you with us. Okay, we're going to talk about the Scottish Premiership over the weekend. Give us your thoughts on your team. Are you happy with the way they're playing? Is there something that's bugging you about Scottish football? We'd love to hear from you on it. And I might as well tell you that over the piece, Roughie and all the guys were out getting their photographs taken at the posters, which we have all across Edinburgh and Glasgow. And one young girl did exactly what we asked of her. Basically, at the North Bridge in Edinburgh, she was out there. Ailey was out there, Ailey Conway. And as you can see, she's a big hibbie, but she's also a huge fan of Tam McManus. So, Tam, she's going to get this special prize. Well done to Ailey for getting her photograph taken. Her mum's a big hibbie, and we have got this special prize for her. I'm going to send it off to her with a lovely little message, and we also have on there at the front, in the box will be a nice little card of Andres Iniesta. We've got all sorts of prizes to give away, and Tam, she's a big fan of yourself as well.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that's even better for Ailey. Well done to you, and well done for getting your picture taken. And I hope you enjoy the top. And let's hope that the Hibs can get you a wee result on Sunday to cheer you up even further. But well done, Ailey.
Absolutely. Well, if the Hibs can get them a result that keeps you and Ailey happy, Charlie will be raging by the time we speak to him on Wednesday. Can't keep everybody happy on this show, to be perfectly honest with you. The other thing I was going to say to you guys is let's talk about these games as well. And if you want to do what Ailey does and you spot some of our posters about in Glasgow and Edinburgh, get your photograph taken with it, send it in to us on Messenger or indeed on studio@plzsoccer.com, and we are going to send you a special prize. Like, share and follow us. You're in the hat as well. And you can also, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll be in as well. Just tell us who you support, and we've got some fantastic prizes to give away. I like to mention them because I know Charlie is a top midfielder in his day and still with Dundee, just in case he wants to bite my head off. But Charlie, we've got our friends at Boca 10 also, as well as our own T-shirts. A wee bit of Gascoigne. He was some player, wasn't he?
He was phenomenal, wasn't he? Just the videos of seeing him, and I just think, over his career, to play at that level and even do, even what he was doing off the pitch, to still achieve what he achieved was just phenomenal, and just shows what a special talent he is. And can he go down as one of England's greatest players, as in one of the best they've ever produced? It's phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, we always like to put out T-shirts that are players that Roughie has partied with and played with, and it doesn't get any better than George's Best. Cracking T-shirts. So we're giving away lots of prizes. All you have to do is get your photograph taken next to the posters when you spot them. Also, the messages coming through now, thanks to Matthew, thanks to Gary Ramsey as well, Ray Finkel, and lots of people joining us. Dixie as well, who says, if Rangers play to their full strength, then Hibs have no chance. Well, interestingly enough, this one is on the Sunday, so Celtic could close the gap and join them at the top of the table before Rangers actually play against Hibs. But this one, Roughie, for me, is game of the weekend.
Yeah, I think it's game of the season as well for Rangers. I know they beat Aberdeen up at Aberdeen. I think most of the other teams they've dealt with quite comfortably, obviously not losing any goals. It's very, very impressive. For me, I think Hibs will be top 4 this year. So it's at Easter Road. They've just come back for a European game. Again, another shutout, very impressive. So, the sounds for Hibs is, no, we're going to make a game of this, and I'm sure they will do. It just depends whether they're strong enough defensively. They tend to, when they come up against the bigger sides, they tend to let themselves down, losing a silly goal. But no, Rangers will be firing on all cylinders, and it'll be interesting to see the team selection that comes out there. And if you're going to ask me for a prediction, I'm going to go for Rangers to win 2-1.
Well, I wasn't going to ask you right now. I was going to just build it all up so we can all get into it. But now that you've said 2-1 early,
he shot his boat early.
Oh, absolutely. Tam, Charlie and I might just change the way we're thinking here. Listen, hi to Brian Spence, who says, morning, guys, from Calgary. Great to have you with us, Brian, on YouTube. Thank you for joining us there. Just on the point, the questions that we're all going to be asking, Stephen Gerrard mentioned today, that's the type of question he'll be asking about. What can this Hibs team do?
Previous games that they've shown this season, I think it'd be very strange if they change their style. And yes, they do play a bold attacking game, but we'll have to wait and see on the day what we come up against. But my focus and my attention's on Rangers and what we're going to produce and provide on the day. And we're going to go there and be on the front foot, and we're going to be aggressive and bold.
Yeah, okay, we understand Rangers are going to do that because the confidence is booming. Tam, this is a real gauge for this Hibs side, whether this is just a flash in the pan their start.
Yeah, I think Steven Gerrard's been a little bit of mind games there as well. I think he'd be delighted if Hibs come out and attack Rangers. Steven Gerrard wants an open game, end to end, because I think Rangers would win that. I think Hibs have got to, Hibs have been playing 4-4-2 recently, and I know a lot of Hibs supporters will want them to go 4-4-2 again and go all out attack against Rangers, but I think you've got to have a little bit of respect for Rangers. Jamie Murphy's going to sit out, I think, obviously, in pre-terms his loan deal. I think they'll maybe bring Hallberg in and they'll maybe go 3 in the middle of the park and try and just be solid. Hibs have not lost a goal from open play this season. They've been really, really impressive defensively, and I think they'll just sit in and invite Rangers on a little bit, and they've got the pace to hurt them. on the counter-attack, the likes of Kevin Nisbet and Martin Boyle. So it was a wee bit cute there for Steven Gerrard. I think he'd be delighted if Hibs came out and play 4-4-2 against Rangers. But I don't think that's going to happen, Peter, to be honest. And it is a big test for Hibs, the biggest test I've had this season. And let's see if they can handle a Rangers team that's flying.
Yeah, Dan on YouTube says, Dan Finn says, Hibs to win 2-1. Dynamic says, booming Hibs will sort them out. Thomas Smith says, it depends what Hibs team turn up. I do think Hibs will score though. And Paul Crawford says, Rangers will win this one 3-1, but Hibs will definitely score, because if they do score, it'll be the first time Rangers have actually conceded a goal this season in the league. Well, what are Hibs going to do? And is this a real gauge? Here's what Jack Ross had to say on the game.
In some ways it is a good barometer, because for where we want to get to, we need to win games like Sunday against that level of opposition, because the Rangers' form and results this season have been outstanding. So we understand that, we know the depth of the challenge, but we know in terms of where it sits us for the rest of the season, it is important. So they won't define it, but I think it is significant for us. We need to go and produce in these types of matches and produce results in these types of matches as well.
Yeah, it's. I think maybe you're overstating it a wee bit, Roughie. I don't think it's game of the season. I think it's one of those big games when two teams have suddenly amassed a good start to the season, good points, amassed a good number of points.
Yeah, no, I think it's game of the season for me so far. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's a massive game. You know, obviously the Aberdeen game was a big game, being the first game of the season, and Aberdeen never turned up. So for Rangers, you know, we'll be looking at this game and saying, right, this is the next team apart from Celtic who's on for them. You know, and if we can go there and get a shutout and a win, you know, we're on the right track. And that's the feedback that everybody will be getting. But as the manager said, it's the same for Hibs as well. If Hibs are going particularly well, if they were to get some kind of result out of this, they'll see this as their biggest result of the season.
Charlie, how many more players do you think Steven Gerrard needs, or do you think he's got the squad now capable of winning the title?
Nah, he still needs a couple. It looks like obviously they need another midfielder. The worry for Rangers at the minute, injuries they keep picking up. They're picking up injuries every game. You know, I think Ryan Jack's going to be out for a few weeks. So that's a big blow for him, because I think he's been key to them in the last 18 months since the manager's come in. I think he's been terrific. You know, Roof out now for a bit could be possible. So we'll see where the injuries go, but they definitely need a couple. I think this is the game of the week, the season so far. Two good teams. Don't believe that Hibs will come out. I think they'll try and counter attack Rangers because of the pace that Boyle's got. But I think the Rangers will create a lot of chances, and they will beat Hibs on the day. I think they'll beat them 2-1. But it's a good game, both teams. But, you know, Rangers, I like what Steven's got. He's got a bit of confidence saying that we worry about ourselves. Yeah, we have a little go about what Hibs are going to do. But I always believe that when you're playing for the Old Firm, you worry about yourselves because you've got the better players. And on your day, if the better players turn up, you win the game.
Yeah, on Facebook, Gordon Herriot says, Rangers to win 3-0. Everybody's giving us their thoughts. Alec Kelly doesn't think Hibs will score either in the game, and Rangers will win it to 0. I think Rangers are going to win it 2-1, Tam. What about yourself?
Listen, my heart's saying 3-0 to Hibs, but I'm going to go with my head on this occasion and go for 1-1. Yeah,
okay. What a size of heart you have, by the way. So you're going for a draw. Oh, Roughie, this could be the time where we're starting to close the gap when his heart and his head disagree with each other. Yeah, dancer. Brilliant. Okay, let's switch our attention then. Of course, that's the Sunday game, and it is game of the weekend. You can give us your thoughts on how you think the game is going to go, but it's an absolute cracker. Hibs against Rangers. The only disappointment, I hate to state the obvious, but God, I love going to that type of game, Charlie, with the fans in. I mean, the atmosphere is volatile at the best of times, but when you've got two teams playing well.
It's one of my favourite away grounds, but at Hibs, I was fortunate enough I scored a couple of free kicks there and a couple of good results. It's the atmosphere is incredible. The Hibs support is on that far side. They're a noisy bunch, but you know, unfortunately, we're still without the fans, and you know, we'll see what type of tempo the game's played at. Hopefully, there's a few tackles and There's a lot on the game because Rangers, obviously, they'll know if Celtic have won the day before. So there'll be a lot of pressure on the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks to the Proclaimers, it is, I think, one of the most iconic songs, Roughie. When you think about, the end of a game, if a team wins, and you think of songs that are played out and fans who really get behind it, Sunshine and Leith is unbelievable when you hear all the Hibs fans belting it out.
Yeah, I think it was tremendous at the cup final when they beat Rangers. It was a memorable day for everybody concerned. And you're right. Once things settled down a wee bit, when they did concentrate and singing the song, it was a fantastic day if you were in the stadium.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing I really love about this live situation that we find ourselves in, getting an immediate reaction from YouTube and Facebook, is lots of people obviously say, John Allen says, I agree with Tam, I think it's going to be 1-1. And then Ronnie Chapman says, I think Tam's been on the drink, Peter, 2-0 to Rangers. So it's a lovely east-west divide on this one, it's all about opinions. Of course, Celtic, they will take on Livingston. They know that they're going to play Riga in the Europa League, but Livingston, and a different Livingston, I would suggest to you, Tam, that Celtic will be playing now, because I wonder where they're going to get the goals. There's no Dykes, there's no Anthony Stokes.
Yeah, listen, I think they're struggling for goals.
He's struggling for Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I was just about to say, just at that crucial point, Roughie, when he was about to give us the most telling thing. What were you saying there, Tam? We missed it.
Sorry, yeah. No, I think they're struggling for goals. I think obviously Anthony Stokes have brought him in to score goals for them. He's left under a cloud. And no Lyndon Dykes either. So I think they'll maybe play the wee boy Pittman up front. I just think they're really, really lacking in goals. They're trying to change the style a little bit, which takes time. They were very effective, getting the ball up to Dykes and getting runners off him. They've not got that anymore, so I think Celtic win that game comfortably, and I'm going to go for 3-0.
Yeah, Neil Lennon, looking at his squad as they got that narrow win over St Mirren, he still wants to add, in his mind, one more player.
One, so again, we're working away in the background on trying to get the right fit and the right player for the right position. But I'm delighted with the business that we've done.
Yep, delighted with that. He's looking for one more player. Lots of people, I think, have guessed correctly that he'll be looking for a left back in this one. I do feel a little bit of sympathy here for Greg Taylor, Roughie, because people presume when he signs somebody, Greg Taylor will be shunted out.
He's getting dogs abuse, isn't he, Peter?
Well, I can't quite work it out. He's working his socks off. If anything, the only thing I think is going against him, well, let me be honest with you. I think sometimes the way Celtic are playing at the moment, when he gets to him, they're going backwards. He's forced back when really you want your fullback to be able to go and drive towards the line and get across in. He has been able to do that, but just not enough for me. But I think the general consensus, Roughie, is that if somebody is signed in that left back position, Taylor might be making way for him, which I think is just slightly unfair to the lad.
Yeah, well, I think Lenny sees him day to day at training. He obviously watches him during the games. I agree with you. He's super going forward, but most of these wing fullbacks are very good going forward. It's defensively that you'll be looking at more than anything, particularly when you come up against better quality. And I do think he's a bit vulnerable, height-wise and pace-wise, somebody having a go at him. But that's the same with Frimpong on the other side. If somebody's attacking him, I think he'd be a wee bit vulnerable as well. So I don't really know what Lenny's looking for. Maybe it's just somebody a wee bit more defensively. But if the boy's good enough to play in the Scottish Premiership, he should be good enough to play for Celtic. So I think it's maybe he's looking to the bigger games that he thinks maybe he's a wee bit of a weakness.
Yeah, and again, Karen Quinn says, I feel sorry for Taylor too, a decent player. And Jay Myrtle says Taylor's crossing is not improving. So you're getting that contrast. I think a lot of people, Charlie, the thing about it is, because of the changing role of fullbacks now, you want them to get to the Robertsons and the Trent Alexander-Arnolds who are top drawer, but every club wants their fullbacks to bomb on and get a decent cross in.
You do, but you've got to remember the levels that are there. Understand that Celtic and Rangers, they have a lot of the ball. So, you don't really defend too much. Okay, in Europe, they'll have opportunities where they will have to defend. But the lads, listen, he done a great job at Kilmarnock before he moved to Celtic. And like you said, Peter, I think he has been, it's a bit harsh on him and how he's been done. He's obviously ball and goalie come in and was not great. And obviously he's got an opportunity now. So I think if Celtic do bring a left back in, I hope it is for cover and not just to basically take his place. He's worked hard to get to that position. And hopefully that he can get a run in the team, because I like him as a player. I think he's a good player. But, if there's nothing on the box, who do you cross to? Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. So at times, he does have to maybe have better quality in the wider areas, but there is more to the game than just putting crosses into the box.
Yeah, and Dynamic says Taylor is a weakness due to a lack of stature and ability. He's a work in development and needs a few years coaching, and he doesn't think he's got a burst of speed. It's all about opinions on the football show, and we take the good and the bad on it. What about Neil Lennon? What does he think of Livingston, the team they're going to face on Saturday?
Well, they've sort of changed their style of play a little bit. They started the season with a back three, and now they've gone back to back four, and obviously they've sold Lyndon Dykes, who was a huge player for them, so they're probably in a little bit of a transition period going into this season. The results haven't been as good as they have been over previous seasons, but we're still expecting Livingston to be difficult to beat and full of energy.
Yeah, okay, give me your predictions, guys. I've looked at the predictions. I'm going for Celtic to win this one 3-0, Tam.
Yep, I think I went for 3-0 as well, Peter.
Charlie?
I'm going for 5. I just think Celtic at home, dominant. The quality they've got, this could be a cricket score.
Well, there, Roughie, I did not expect Charlie to say 5 on this one. What about you?
Yeah. 5-0 to Celtic from the staunch, man.
Yes.
He's on his rally.
Formidable at home. They cruise at home. They don't have any pressure. Livingston won't come and attack them. I just think once they get one, it could end up, they could end up 4 or 5-0.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Roughie. What's your take on it?
Yeah, well, I saw you two had went for 3-0, so I'm going 4-0 in this one.
Right, fun.
That golf game's getting closer and closer, Roughie.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not too far away from us, and Charlie is in the same camp as you. We will wait and see how that all turns out. Now, if Hibs Rangers is a good game to look forward to in the Sunday, Aberdeen Motherwell is also equally up there because I don't know. I thought Motherwell made heavy weather of their Europa League game, but against Aberdeen on Sunday, I'm really looking forward to this one, Tam, because as I said, both of us are starting to warm to Aberdeen after a shaky, start when I thought they were poor against Rangers.
Yep, as I said, I think Aberdeen have got a really strong squad. They're getting players back. They've obviously still got Sam Cosgrove out injured as well, who's a huge miss for them. But I like Kennedy out on the right-hand side. I like the two wing-backs, Kennedy and Johnny Hayes. They're very attacking, Aberdeen. And that's something that, they haven't really been in recent years. They've been more solid and won a lot of games 1-0. But I just feel there's a wee bit more flair in the team with Hedges as well. So I like to look at Aberdeen. I like McCrory in there as well. And I think they'll beat Motherwell. I think they'll beat Motherwell 2-1. I agree with Charlie. I don't think Motherwell have really hit their straps yet and got into a rhythm. And I think they're conceding too many goals. So I'll go Aberdeen to win 2-1.
Well, on YouTube, Ray Finkel, who's a regular on the programme and regularly contributes with his opinion, says Aberdeen are in good form, should win again, and once they get Cosgrove back, they'll be even better. I mean, that's something we all forget about, Charlie, because Sam Cosgrove offers them another dimension up front.
Yeah, and I keep going back to that Rangers game. They never had that dimension up front. Cosgrove was a huge blow, just losing at the start of the season, so if they can win games without him, and then obviously when he comes in, it obviously makes them stronger. I think it'll be between Hibs and Aberdeen for this third place. So I'm looking forward to the game. I think it'll be a good game. Aberdeen might just edge it with the quality they've got at the moment, but I think Aberdeen do give you opportunities with the defenders they've got at the back. I think some at times they're rash and the poor on the ball. They get away quite a bit. So I think Motherwell will go up there and try and sit in and try and counter attack a little bit. But no, I think Aberdeen will just edge 1-0.
Yeah, I've gone for Aberdeen to win 2-0, Robbie, but the one key element of this whole thing is, you start doing predictions at the start of the season, you try to the best of your ability to guess a few of the positions, but boy, Motherwell, I had them to finish third, and they just haven't really got that engine going yet.
Yeah, I'm sure the manager at the beginning of the season would look at the players that he's brought in and on the back of where they ended up last season, he would have thought as well that this was going to be another exciting season. So it hasn't happened for them. Obviously there'll be a wee boost getting by that midweek game. But for me, it's about the two teams in Europe, travelling, coming back, picking up injuries midweek. It's whatever team has got the best resources for me, and I think that's Aberdeen. So I'm going to go for Aberdeen 2-0.
Yeah. Did I get yours, Tam? Did I get your prediction?
Yeah, 2-1 to the Dons for me.
Okay. William, who's sent us a message out there on YouTube. William, we try and read out as many of the opinions as we possibly can. But William, if I could explain to you, it's very, very difficult on YouTube to sift through what I would call the complete and utter nutcases and sift through their stuff and then try and get the sensible opinions as they come down. So I've got to filter it, read it, and try and read out as many as possible. William, your head works in a different way from mine. I read out the people who've got a sensible point as much as I possibly can. It's quite different when I read out some of them on YouTube to what I read out on Facebook, because on Facebook, most of the people who are on there have their pictures or they've registered their name with Facebook. So if they want to be bigoted, they've left themselves in real trouble. In YouTube, you've got a whole group of faceless people who think they've got a free rein to fire out poison, William. So I try and filter them as quickly as I can. I'll tell you, reading them as they go down at 100 miles an hour is no mean feat, let me tell you. So with that in mind, Dundee United against St Mirren. And, apart from the fact that St Mirren have been moaning a fair bit over the week, justified or unjustified is for you to decide. I was going to say to you, Tam, let's hear from Mickey Mellon, who has a bit of sympathy for St Mirren.
Boom, St Mirren unfortunately find themselves with 3 goalkeepers with it, and I felt really, really sorry for them for that. I really did, because I'm a football man and I want people to be able to play their better footballs, and I don't want to think that anybody's suffering from this virus, and to see a football club suffering was really disappointing.
Yeah, okay, some managers have sympathy. We didn't have too much of it, Tam, did we?
No, I didn't. I'm a bit of a goalie hater anyway, to be honest. Apart from Roughie, I like Roughie, but in terms of goalies, I mean, a goalie's a goalie. Just put a goalie in. You're just in there, get balls blasted. Kick the ball, save the ball. That's it, and get on with it. Zlamal saved a penalty against Celtic the other night and played okay. I just don't think a goalkeeper's a real area where you can moan about. You get a good experienced goalkeeper in, and he's done okay for St Mirren so far. So. Yeah, a little bit of sympathy for them, but the way St Mirren fans were going on, and Jim Goodwin, sympathy was running short for me. So, and I think they'll get beaten Saturday. I think Dundee United will beat them 2-1.
Yeah, no real sympathy there for the goalkeepers, Charlie. No. But I don't know about you, but before I get to Roughie and place a real value on him, Charlie Berthiaud said to me once when I was talking about Roughie at his peak, and he said that I tried, tooth and nail to keep him fighting all the time with, people that wanted to sign him. He said because he was worth 10 to 12 to 14 points a season, keeping Hibs and Partick Thistle in the league. And goalkeepers, good goalies, can have a real impact on your team.
Absolutely. I think Tam's just a typical striker, not worried about the goalkeepers. I think the goalkeeper is just as important as having a guy that can score you 20, 25 goals a season. The goalkeeper situation is if you get that right goalkeeper that, can save you 12, 15 points a season, it's massive, especially if you're going to win a championship or for relegation. The goalie, Zamal nearly done it, didn't he, against Celtic the other night? I said it. if he comes out and he's man of the match against Celtic, nobody'd be worrying about what was going on with the COVID. So I just think I think this is a massive game for both clubs. You know, I think United have obviously had a couple of 4-0s. St Mirren obviously losing again the other night is a tough one to take. So it'll be an interesting game, but I think a draw will be a result in this one.
Yeah, it's one of those things, Roughie. I'm going to give you your chance to scalp them right back. But goalies, Zlamal, Charlie did mention it on Wednesday to his credit. Zlamal pulled off some really good saves in that game.
Yeah, he did. There's no doubt about that. But European Cup final, ask Jurgen Klopp if any goalkeeper would have done in that final that night, because his goalkeeper did cost him a European winners' medal. And the way things are going now, I think people appreciate now that you need a good goalkeeper. If you're in the top team, you need a good goalkeeper. You look at the price of keepers now. Before, they weren't paying anything for them. Now the quality ones are up 60, 70 million, because I think they all realise that. But I know where Tam's coming from. I know that they had a list of 27 people they could have went and got, and they went and they did that. So I'm in his camp about the bleating about it. I can feel sorry for them. There's no doubt about that. But it wasn't as if they said, no, you're not getting another goalkeeper. They gave them the avenue to get another goalkeeper. And I don't think the goalkeeper had anything to do with the way they played. They got beat last week. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think we're going to see more of that as we go down the road.
Yeah, Matt Gunner says, Tam just talks and he's put a wee emoji in, and that's our competition. See if you can guess what the emoji is.
He's getting a free t-shirt for that.
You know, I really should send Matt Gunner a free t-shirt for that. You're absolutely right, Charlie. But nevertheless, I get where Tam's coming from the morning perspective. If you're a goalkeeper and you're a professional and you're practicing all week to save the ball, when you come in and you don't know your teammates, it's still the same principle. Stop the ball from going in the net. But nevertheless, what do you think? I think Dundee United will edge it Tam 1-0.
Yeah, 2-1 to me, for me, regardless of the goalkeeping situation.
Yeah, okay. Now, I'm really looking forward to getting your thoughts. Have I got yours, Roughie? What did you go for?
Yeah, I'm going to go one each. I was sitting the fence on this one. I think Dundee United have had a couple of wee doings there that might take them a wee while to recover from it.
Yeah. Charlie, did you give you a prediction?
I said a draw. I think this could be Shanklin's first goal in the Premier League, and I'll go 1-1.
Right, okay, good one. Kilmarnock against Hamilton. Now, the reason this is an interesting one, because we've obviously been listening to Brian Rice talking about the game today, and because of the situation that he faced with Accies, with 3 players contracting positive coronavirus test, he reckons the way things are going, looking at the medical advice, looking at the R number, looking at what's happening across the United Kingdom, he reckons that it's going to be a challenge yet again to finish the season.
I think Neil Doncaster spoke about it as well. You know, it's going to be a challenge to get the season finished, but we must do everything we possibly can. And every club, I know every club is doing everything they possibly can. You know, I don't think they can do any more. It's just it's the way of the world at the minute. It's not just the way of Scottish football; it's the way of the world. You know, you go your holidays and all of a sudden you need to get back, or you're quarantined. So it's not just a football problem, but our business is football.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's the big fear. I wouldn't like to be trying to call the league now, Tam, the way it's looking at the moment.
No, well, they called it last season. I'm sure a lot. If Rangers are top of the league, they won't care. They won't care if the league's called. The Celtic got it last season, but
can you imagine if that happened after 10 games? Oh my gosh!
World War III.
I know, and the other thing about it is, that's a great point you make, Charlie, because the one thing we know about Scottish football is there's no sporting integrity. The rules are there's no rules. They make it up as they go along, and there's all sorts of skullduggery goes on in the background. I mean, Charlie, never mind this league. Everywhere. I mean, we're talking about businesses, but we always talk about it because we are football fans. I don't know, but I think they have to, by hook or by crook, look for ways that they have to finish. You can understand. I'm not going to rewrite history with everybody, but you can understand why the league was called last season. Because of circumstances and what we were in and what the country was in at each stage as we were heading towards the end of the season. But this season, they're a little bit wiser now, Charlie.
Yeah, listen, they learn from the experiences. We've been through a pandemic. We've had our lockdown, a shutdown. I think we can, and if we do get to that point, I still think we can keep playing. But we just have to go a different way of doing it. And I don't think they can shut it down before the season finishes. I just like to say we'll find a solution because we've got that experience of what we've done last year, and hopefully we can get playing. But where we're playing the championship, we've not even started yet, and that's the worry for us, that we've not even kicked the ball. So hopefully we can get up and running and continue playing football games.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you make. Before I get your predictions, guys, on Killie against Hamilton, Roughie. The way things are going and how the First Minister has thrown out this little hint that there's some stiff things about to happen with regards to some of the restrictions that are about to be placed on the country again. Not even your board can go to a game.
No, we'd be to watch the friendly, but I think to be responsible, I think the area where we're playing is one of the areas that is at risk. So it'd be silly, to even chance it. But the most alarming thing, Peter, is I'm now beginning to read that the full-time clubs are now a wee bit wary of playing part-time clubs who are not testing, and quite rightly so. If they've been testing for the last 2 months and all of a sudden they're drawn against a part-time side who haven't been testing at all, that's a major worry for the future of the game and for the future of the team. I can see why they're worried about it, and something needs to be done before these games come around.
Yeah, with that again.
Here's a point. Can part-time people make a way of getting tested on a Thursday before they play on a Saturday by just going to a COVID centre and getting tested, football players?
Well, Charlie, here's the point on this. Some people can't even get tested who should be tested without having to travel hundreds of miles. Now, I understand where I understand where you're coming from. I mean, a lot of people will say, well, this group of people need special dispensation and special treatment. Is there a stronger case for part-time footballers to suddenly be able to go somewhere and get tested on a Thursday to keep the game going? I'm not so sure. I understand where you're coming from, Charlie, but if you read into what Roughie's saying, Charlie, I genuinely think there's going to be a big problem with the Betfred Cup.
Yeah, we're the same. Obviously we play Montrose in a friendly on Saturday, part-time team. We're obviously full-time trying to get ready for the season. So you don't know. The lads are always obviously working, doing their jobs, and then coming and playing on a Saturday. So it is a worry. And as I say, the higher you go up, your Rangers, your Celtics, your Aberdeens, it's a huge loss for them if they lose one of the main players.
Yeah, absolutely. Tam, do you get the feeling that one of the trophies might fall by the wayside?
Yeah, I just don't see how it can go ahead. I agree with everything that's been said here. I think that the part-time players, through no fault of their own, are coming up against guys who are getting tested twice a week. And, you might get the scenario, and I know it's ridiculous, but you might get a scenario where full-time players don't want to mark someone, don't want to tackle someone, don't want to get close to someone because they think, they might catch COVID off them. I know it's a bit far-fetched, but That is the reality of a situation when you're playing against guys who, as Charlie said, are working, coming straight for their work, they're in and out, and they've not been tested. And you've been tested, and you might lose your top players, big players for big games. So I just don't see how the Betfred Cup. I actually heard somebody talking about the other day that it could get scrapped. I don't know if it will get scrapped, but I think it's very difficult to play full-time teams testing twice a week against part-time teams who aren't testing at all.
Yeah, Jerry Manford says in Switzerland.
It's a good excuse for me the weekend, isn't it? I can't tackle him, I can't get close to him because of the COVID.
Exactly. Yeah. see if you can use that, Charlie, for the first 4 or 5 weeks. Just playing that number 10 role. Jerry Mappin in Switzerland says, you just go to your local doctor and you get tested. Oof, Jerry, that's magnificent. Now what we need to do, Roughie, is we need to look to see if Switzerland is on the country list that we can go and visit, because we'll be going over there to Jerry, have a wee party and then nip out to the doctor and get tested, if it's all COVID free over there, because the countries are falling, as Charlie says. No sooner do you go out on holiday somewhere, then realistically you're called back. You need to get back before a certain time. It is so difficult to try and gauge this and where it's all going. We were aware coming up to autumn and winter that there is the real threat of another surge, but second lockdown is scary. I certainly hope we can still play the games, and also I'd like to thank Ryan Callum as well, Tosh, Greg Stott, lots of guys just saying hello to us on YouTube and Facebook. First time I've been able to catch you live in ages, says Greg Stott. I tune in as much as I can from Canada, and excited for Charlie Adam at Dundee. All the best, Charlie, and best wishes to you and the family. What a nice message there, Charlie, from Greg in Canada.
Brilliant. No, it's nice to listen. I've had some amazing messages over the last few days, and on social media and obviously to my phone. It's been great. It's been a great response. Just like you say, want to go and play in front of the supporters now and try and be successful. And if we can do that, then that'd be great. But no, the response has been brilliant, and hopefully it can continue.
Yeah. Dare I say it, Tam, and I don't want to preempt this for the Dundee fans, but when Charlie hits the first free kick and bends it over the wall, or he spots the goalie off his line and scalps one from 45, 50 yards, I will lay you a bet.
No pressure, Charlie.
I will lay you a bet, Tam McManus, for a £5 if you'll take me on this one. Charlie Adams scores a goal in front of the Dundee fans, and they will sing, "He's one of our own. He's one of our own. Charlie Adam. He's one of our own." It's a Stonewall certainty, isn't it? They've got to sing that, haven't they?
Aye, that's a certainty. Charles, just get ready for that, son. As soon as you run over to the Derry, your old stomping ground over there. Get right in amongst all the fans. Yep.
I'll be in it. That'll be my first yellow card. I'll be in it. I might not get back out.
Absolutely. Have you ever jumped into the crowd, Tam?
Yes, many times. I actually jumped into the crowd in the Dundee derby at Tannadice. I scored and we drew 2-2. And they scored
and they were pushing them back out.
The Dundee fans, right in there. A Fabian Caballero cross right on my head. Bang. 2-1.
By the way,
2-1 up and then we lost a late goal.
I was unbelievable. I got a message on Twitter yesterday on Instagram from Fabian Caballero, and I was like, obviously it's one of my heroes, and I was just unbelievable. I was buzzing with it. Do you know what I mean? All the way from Paraguay.
Wow. He was a great player.
Unbelievable.
One of the strongest guys I've ever played with.
If he never done his cruise yet, he would have went and played for Rangers.
Yeah.
I think Rangers were desperate for him. What a player.
Did he say tell Tam I was asking for him?
No. I have to say, what a great little story there, Charlie, because he was a thoroughly gifted player. I mean, he was a fabulous player off that right foot. Great player to watch.
Oh, was phenomenal. What a player. Just his backlift he had no backlift, but the power he used to get on the ball. Tam obviously played with him, but I seen it from the side. He was a phenomenal player, and I believe that he could have went on and played, for Rangers or Celtic easily if he'd never done his knee, because he had everything: strength, quick, could score goals. He was a top player when he was here. But no, I was delighted when he messaged.
Who was better in your mind, Caballero or Nimzadze?
Nimzadze's a genius. I use it. The man was incredible. He was just phenomenal both ways. Do you know what I mean? And a great guy as well. I managed fortunate enough to get to meet him at Julian Speroni's testimonial, and he was a great guy as well. And he was, what a player he was.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
absolutely.
tremendous.
St Johnstone, Ross County, Tam. I'm looking at this one. Let's hear first of all from Callum Davison because he wants to add a player.
I think you ask every manager, Andy. I think it's always a striker. It's always somebody to put the ball in the back of the net. We're always looking. We're always looking for players. So it's something we'll continue to do. And if something comes up, we think is better than what we have, or something that can improve the squad or different to what we have, then hopefully we'll get the opportunity to do something.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me to call, Tam. I'm just looking at it and I can't separate them. I've gone for 1-1.
I'm going to go for St Johnstone 1, Ross County 2. I was pretty impressed with Ross County. I know they lost 4-0 to Celtic, but 5-0 to Celtic, sorry. But they had numerous chances. I think they've got goals in them, and I don't think St Johnstone have got goals in them, so I think they'll win 2-1.
Yeah, Charlie?
Yeah, I'll go Ross County to win 1-0. So I don't think there'll be much in the game, and I think Ross County could nick it 1-0.
Yeah. Roughie?
I'm going to
Ruffy's not
I'm going to go St Johnstone to win 2-1.
I know
Home advantage.
he never tips Ross County to win. Peter,
No, I know.
They're going down.
Ross
County down, by the way.
Ross County could be playing the Blind Asylum, and he would still pick the Blind Asylum to beat Ross County.
Yeah.
I was thinking that about the Hamilton Kilmarnock. Obviously, never said, but I said about Hamilton getting beat every week and they win. So no, I think they're actually going to keep beat Kilmarnock at the end.
Yeah. Don't feel guilt. Don't feel guilty about that, Charlie. Ruffy has tipped Accies to be relegated for the last 8 years of the show, and they've defied him all the time. So I wouldn't feel worried about that. But what I know, I've actually got to a situation where I've tipped Ross County to go down, but I've watched them, and I agree with you, Tam. They're playing some nice football.
Yeah. Yep, I think they're a decent side, and obviously if they keep Ross Stewart, I think he's excellent for them. Billy Mackay's got goals in them, and they're pretty solid. They're solid across the back, middle of the park. So no, I think Ross County will be okay this season, contrary to what Ruffy thinks. I think they'll be safe.
Yeah, okay. Ross County to win 3-0, says Alison Sarah Carroll. Alison, I know you're a regular on the show. Thank you very much for your opinion on that. Lots of people giving us their take on who's going down, who's going to win games. Alan Buckley reckons it's going to be Hibs 2, Rangers 1. Kelly to beat Ross County 2-1, says Stuart Carruthers. Lots of people, talking to each other and, of course, giving us a prediction. So we really want to thank you for that. 0-0 for me, says Niall Kane. Niall, you're in my camp. I'm not quite sure where it's all going to go. Tam, I'm going to get your thoughts on this. Just a couple of points before we finish, lads. Jack Ross has said Scott Allen has a health issue that we're investigating further. So he'll be missing for the upcoming period until we investigate further and get him back fit and healthy. He says it's a private and confidential matter. So if and when we have more understanding of it, we'll be prepared to comment. But at the moment, it rules him out for Sunday and the immediate games coming up after that. Now, I am not saying anything out of trust or betraying his trust or anything. But Scott Allen, when we had him on the programme, Tam mentioned the fact that he has to deal with diabetes, and I just wonder if that's maybe affected his overall health. If it's something else, then great. If it's private, we don't want to know. But I know he also has to battle with diabetes, which is one of those ones where you have to be monitoring it non-stop.
Yeah, you had him on the show, and he's done really, really well. He had a great career in the game. He's diabetic and obviously has to take injections 2 or 3 every day. We're speaking to him on the show, and it's maybe something to do with that, maybe something else. But Scott just hasn't looked himself since he's came back from the break. Maybe it's to do with maybe a health issue he's got. And we all wish him, obviously, in the show, and everybody concerned in football wish him all the best, and hopefully he can come back, because there's no doubt in his talent. But he has been a little bit off the pace for Hibs this season, and maybe that's got something to do with it. But hopefully, fingers crossed, his health is okay.
Yeah, Ruffy, you know what it's like for the last 4 or 5 years. I'm a huge Scott Allen fan. I like what he does. I like the fact that he's a midfielder who looks for a forward pass. He always tries to go forward as a midfielder. The amount of midfielders who can make a career playing crab football defies belief, but he's not that type of player.
No, and you would have to say if he was 100% fit, you would like to think he'd be in the team. If I was buying a season ticket at Hibs, he's the kind of player I would want to see on the park. He's the guy who lights up a game. As Charlie will tell you, when you've got that kind of player who can see a pass, as long as people run about him, can also see the pass, he's a wonderful player to have. I just think and everything he brings to the game is super from a fan's point of view.
Yeah, Charlie, is he your type of player? Somebody who can pick a pass 5-10 yards, but also do the defence splitting pass.
Yeah, he's a wonderful player. And like you said, Tam, we spoke about earlier when I first came on the show that he just wasn't himself, and obviously this is now starting to come out that this could be the reason why he's not at the levels and not found his fitness. So I wish him all the best. I hope it is that, and he can get it sorted and get it under control. And we can see Scott Allen playing, because there's not many players like him that can go and thread a pass between a centre back and a full back, and scoring some goals that he does. So he is a great talent, and you never know where once he can get this sorted where he can then take Hibs again.
Yeah, Karen Quinn says, get well soon, Scott. And Karen, I think you echo the sentiments of lots of people about Scott Allen. Good player that he is. Also, Robert Patterson says, 5-1 to the Gers. Reading out as many of the comments as I possibly can. If you see our posters around Glasgow and Edinburgh, get your photograph taken next to it, send it in to us, and we're going to pick them out and send you a prize. If you, on the other hand, are looking for a great deal, you're going to buy a new car, if you scan the code on the poster, there's a deal there, a special deal from Arnold Clark. You can take advantage of it if you are indeed looking for a new car. Also, we're giving away lots of T-shirts and goodies for the next couple of weeks, so hopefully that will keep you happy. Greg Stott says, here's an interesting one, Roughie. Greg Stott says, Peter Martin, what is your ambitions for the PLZ football show? Where would you like to take it? Well, we just keep climbing the levels, Roughie, don't we? We don't need to take it anywhere now because the nature of broadcasting is quite simply that people are moving away from terrestrial television, and the youngsters and everybody is watching it on their phone, they're watching it on their computers, they're watching it on their telly when they want, and they're watching us on YouTube and Facebook, and the figures are fantastic.
They're wonderful. My first choice would be Barbados to take the show there. I think it'd be wonderful over there for everybody to tune in.
I wouldn't object to that.
If they can get us here, they can get us there.
Yes, it's not a bad shit. Charlie, could your napper handle the heat of Barbados? Would you be happy to go out there and do it with us?
Absolutely. You know what we need to organise? A week's golfing in Portugal, and did a show live for a week. That'd be a great idea, wouldn't it?
That'd be a great idea. Do you know what? It's a great idea. Just as
Charlie
Nicola shuts the entire, just as Nicola shuts the entire country down. Although I have to say to you, I was just about to say to you, Charlie, what a great idea, because a couple of years ago I went out with Gordon Strachan to La Manga, and it was magnificent. Roughie, that is the business, because do you know what's good about it out there, Roughie, apart from the golf? It's also the place where Rafael Nadal has a few tennis courts and lessons.
Yeah. It's a wonderful place. It's a place where everybody went. The only disappointing thing was they took away the piano bar because of health and safety. And if anybody's been in that piano bar, you will know why it was taken away. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, he couldn't go upstairs, that was the thing.
Yeah, so private joke there for Roughie, and nobody else got that who's ever been there. So fantastic. Anyway, apart from anything else, just before we go, John Donald says 4-1 to Rangers. Barry Pinchbeck says Hibs are not very good, 3-0. So there's quite a lot of Rangers fans quite confident on this one.
A lot of them have been humble pie on Monday.
Well, this is the great thing about it. That's what I have to say. It's all about opinions. That's what the boys, who follow their team, who are passionate about their team. Dundee fans wishing Charlie the best. Ailey Conway, who's a prize winner, loves you, Tam. I'm sure there are. Well, we know Roughie's the housewife's favourite because he tells us every week on the show. What about the fans who were not socially distancing outside the Tottenham training ground, welcoming Charlie, dare I say it, Gareth Bale on a £20 million loan.
Sensational. It's incredible. Fair play to him, because he could have easily sat in Madrid and played and not played and picked up the salary he was getting, and obviously he's coming back to Tottenham, which was a huge boost for them because they just went flat, haven't they? So he'll obviously come in and pick them up, but it's the numbers are incredible for him. 20 million, if it is for a loan fee, is phenomenal. But if you look at it now, Tottenham will make that back, but the jersey sales. So it's a great piece of business. He's still, when he gets playing, he could be, or still is one of the best players in the world. He's won 4 Champions Leagues, won nearly, I think, over 10 trophies at Real Madrid. He's had a sensational career there, and it'll be great to see him back in the Premier League.
Yeah, here, Charlie. I agree with you 100%. I'm so glad he joined Tottenham instead of Manchester United. I just think it's just that place where he'll feel at home. Listen, just before we go, don't forget, like, share and follow us. Get your face in front of one of our posters. They're in Glasgow, right across so many venues. You can get it in Osborne Street. If you're going up Sucky Hall Street, there's 6 of them all in a row. Get your photograph taken, send it in to us. We're going to send you out. You might even get one of these Johan Cruyff tops that we have in our shop. And over and above that, if you do what Ailey Conway did, you can stand next to our posters on North Bridge and get your photograph taken. And if you're a Hibs or a Hearts fan, there could be a special prize sent out to you there as well. So with that in mind, like, share and follow us. And on YouTube, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. I do hope you have a great weekend of football. We are football fans. We love all the fans who support their team passionately, and thank you to each and every one of you for following us. And the football family is growing bigger and bigger week in, week out, so we're delighted on that. I'm going to leave you with something that's pretty sad. I think a lot of people will find it hard to believe that it's a year since we lost Fernando Rickson. It was a debilitating, demoralising disease which has taken a young man way too early. I know a lot of Rangers fans and a lot of fans of every club across Scotland were absolutely gutted with the news. He's gone, but certainly not forgotten on a football show like this. Have a great weekend, enjoy your football, and remember Fernando on a day like today.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit